Reporter Richard Ellis here with columnist Bob Robb, and it's time to sort of paw through what the election results tell us about what kind of state we are, what kind of county. You are theorizing in this column that Trump was a drag from the top of the ticket down, which usually the reverse happens.
Yes, and it's in reaction to what is, to me, a surprising consensus that seems to be developing both nationally and locally, and among political operatives of both parties, which was that Trump is part of the reason why the blue wave became a trickle, and that Republicans even picked up some seats elsewhere. I think that's a serious misanalysis, particularly here in Arizona and in Maricopa County. And the column attempts to both provide a common sense observation, which is if Trump lost and other Republicans won, you can hardly argue that Trump was a help, that it was something that other people had to overcome, while also trying to do a deep dive into the election results and exit polls to identify what I think actually happened in this election. Go ahead.
Do you think that people intentionally split their ballot so that we'd have a Republican check in Congress or even locally? Or is it that people just rejected Donald Trump at the top of the ticket and went with their old patterns down the line, particularly Republicans?
Well, to me, what explains the outcome of the election, both nationally and locally, is that the independents tilted strongly against Trump. Back in 2016, according to the exit polls, they actually tilted slightly towards Trump. This election, they went decisively against Trump. Trump increased Republican turnout, no question about it. He increased in Democratic turnout as well, and he turned the independents against him. Usually when the independents go strongly for one party or the other at the top of the ticket, that then flows down to down-ballot races. And that doesn't appear to have happened in this election, both nationally and, again, if you look particularly at Maricopa County, Trump got thumped in Maricopa County. That's where he lost the election, and by a large margin. Nevertheless, if you look at the county offices, which are low visibility affairs and usually a function of party identification, the Republicans appear to have won all of them except for the sheriff's race. And there you had the Arpaio legacy still at work with one of his lieutenants running, and the Democrat Paul Penzone. He has a law enforcement background and I think is a safe alternative for both independents and Republicans who don't want to see a return to Arpaio's days. But in general, it was a pretty positive outcome by less margins than you would expect given voter registration. But it doesn't appear that the independents punished Republicans down the ticket for Trump being at the top of the ticket.
Right. So there might be a split as we get the full set of numbers in between looking at the congressional races where there's TV ads and mailers and all that stuff versus what you're saying, the down ballot races, people just kind of pick parties rather than knowing the individuals involved.
Right. And the conclusion, I think, is that Trump wasn't an asset. He was a liability that had to be overcome. And Republicans actually got kind of lucky that independents didn't go down ballot the way that they did at the top of the ballot to the extent they might have or could be expected to. They got lucky. And in terms of trying to craft a post-Trump Republican Party, it would be a serious mistake in my judgment to say Trump's an asset rather than a liability that we had to overcome and did to a certain extent in this election cycle.
Let's hope this video is not shown to the current president, or else we can expect to be flamed on the Twitter.